Last time on Square Roots, an energy was being harvested by an industrial company known as the Shinra Company and was being used to control the land. That energy was Mako, and at their base, Midgar, Mako reactors were built to generate power. However, this Mako energy that the Shinra said would bring eternal happiness was the root of all life, including the life of the planet. At this rate, the planet was soon to die. A small group of people who knew about this decided to form a group known as Avalanche and took action to protest against Shinra. Amongst Avalanche was a former soldier of Shinra, Cloud. He had no feelings or principles. Kinda like a few guys I know around here. Final Fantasy VII.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Hello, everybody.
John Avalanche Brandon.
Why, hello there.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 200, the first episode in our Final Fantasy VII series.
Wow. 200 episodes. We did it, boys.
Dang, that's a bunch.
Now, admittedly, 30 of those episodes are our first season because we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah, we didn't know how to pace these things, really.
We still don't.
And that season does not count, famously.
That's
true.
I've always said that the final season of this show should be Final Fantasy IX. We should end it how we started it, but this time with Vanessa.
That's me, the most popular host of all.
Everyone loves Vanessa.
How stoked is everyone for Final Fantasy VII? I'm
Pretty
stoked.
fucking stoked. Hang on. Jim, I believe you're incorrect. This is episode KOTOR, penultimate episode, KOTOR 2.
No, Matt, John and I just went ahead and took care of that.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, so then this is the final KOTOR 2 episode.
No, John and I went ahead and took care of that too.
Thanks for taking that on, guys.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. Jim and I both got sick.
Of
Got
the
sick
game.
KOTOR.
It's real tough when your roommates to not pass the disease along. And I'm glad that John and Vanessa didn't pick it up as Jim and I walked around the house coughing and wearing our little sick masks and carrying dirty tissues. Here in our Square Roots house, where we all live together.
Mm-hmm. We're all in the same room right now.
Yep. And that's why Matt was walking around drinking Coronas and stumbling drunk and saying, "I've got the coronavirus, get it?"
John, that's not funny. Some people actually believe that the coronavirus is somehow tied to Corona beer.
Oh.
What?
Oh, no.
People will believe anything they read on the internet.
What people?
I don't know. That's a good question. Probably one out of, let's say, 4 people you know. So look to the person to your left.
Okay.
One of us here believes.
Yep.
One of us here believes the coronavirus
John looks
is tied to corona.
confused. So
It's probably John.
Oh.
But, he's a product of that Canadian public schooling, so what can you do?
It's true.
that's true.
Yeah. So, you guys want to talk about how you leveled up?
Sure.
That should be a thing that we do.
Is that what we're doing for our 200th
Oh,
episode? We're
hold
just
on.
gonna talk
Should
about
I-
how we leveled up.
I guess I should explain what we do here, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs in like a book club format, but for your ear holes.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what the Square Roots podcast does. And this is episode 1 of our Final Fantasy VII season, or as our Facebook group has decided to call them, our most recent murder of chonkers.
I saw that. That's pretty good.
So, since it's the 200th episode, I know we've been talking about this for a long time. We've actually got the winner of our big 200th episode contest.
Oh boy!
Samu Midkiff.
Johnny Scruffoni Midkiff Skinner.
Owen Jorgensen.
It was Dr. Stephen Stone, but unfortunately he is disqualified as a former disgraced co-host.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
One of many.
Suck it, Steve.
Wow. Relax there, buddy.
He's
Remember when
coming
we
to
used
visit.
to like do regular co-hosts and do episodes like bonus episodes with guests and stuff?
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah, the halcyon days of the Square Roots podcast.
That was terrible. I hated doing that stuff. I don't want to have to be social. I'm social with the three of you.
That's it.
A closed
enough for me.
circle.
That's the best kind of circle. Who wants an open circle? What are you going to do with an open
I
circle?
like doing
This is already
episodes
too
with
much of
people.
too much of a social obligation.
You could probably like throw things in the middle of it. Isn't that an open circle, like a donut?
Yes. A donut is like an open circle.
No.
You know what else is like an open circle? The
What?
city of Midgar.
Oh,
hey.
good
Oh,
point.
boy. I'm really excited that Final Fantasy, and we just played Final Fantasy VI, what, a year ago? Less than a year ago.
A year and a half ago.
Is it a year?
A year and a
Yeah,
half.
it was a
I'm really
while
glad
ago.
that Final Fantasy has finally decided to tighten up the story and just set it in a city instead of making it this world, like, globe-trotting
no.
adventure. Like, we're setting up...
We've got some bad news for you there, Matt.
Hey, actually, since you seem to want to explain this whole game to me, John, why don't you explain to me your experience with this game?
Oh, let's level up first, and then we'll do that.
No, good idea.
Yeah.
200 episodes later, and we still cannot decide on the order of the segments we do every single episode, which are always in the same order.
So, guys, what are you squarely against?
No. No. Level up, somebody.
I still am having a hard time figuring out how the prequel to Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy Spirits Within, ties into this. I guess that's what I'm squarely against.
I thought the prequel to Final Fantasy VII. No, wait, that's the sequel. Was Married with Advent Children.
Yes.
Married with Advent Children. I love that. Remember when Tifa comes down the stairs and the whole audience woos?
Yeah.
So good.
Tifa.
What I don't understand about
Is it not
Married
Tifa?
with
It's
Advent
Tifa.
Children is that
Tiffany.
Cloud is this like big slobby guy, and he's married to this super hot chick Eris, but he never wants to have any relations with her. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I never understood that, but, you know, they have a real toxic kind of marriage.
Yeah, I think they just need to communicate better.
Impotence is a bitch.
I think Matt is right. I think that Cloud's anger issues stem from the fact that he is unable to perform.
Yeah.
He's always trying to relive his days as the Shinra soldier, but instead he's just a lady shoe salesman.
Right.
Who wants to talk about how they leveled up?
Everybody.
Yes.
John,
Okay.
go first.
I will go first. I have been playing more MMOs.
Whoa, which one? Which ones?
I've been playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I have been playing Final Fantasy XIV. I got to a really fun Final Fantasy XIV one that's like this kind of haunted house with this lady who got disfigured, and she's so mad that she's not beautiful anymore that she takes it. She's been murdering women around the countryside and disfiguring their faces, and she's turned into this demon, and you have to go kill her, and it's quite problematic, but it's got like Castlevania music and stuff, so it's very goth and fun.
That sounds very melodramatic.
Yeah, it's just like a raid, like not a raid, like a dungeon. So you can do this over and over again, but it's just like a really well designed dungeon that's very fun to play.
Oh.
But once again, people are like complaining about how I was healing, and then like saying, because like we were doing the big boss fight against her, and then I started to someone died near the end. I was like, oh, I'll raise you, and then they were sending me messages, don't raise me. It's like, I don't understand how MMOs work. Why is this so complicated?
So you're a cleric in this game, or a white
Yeah,
mage?
I'm playing a white mage.
Huh.
A white.
You're a real Clint McElroy.
Well, I just figure that I'm not super great at it, and people always want white mages, so that seems like something I can do. I can just go and heal people.
That's racist.
Oh, no. People want black mages, too, because they're very cool and talented.
That's racist.
Oh, no. People want red mages?
No, John.
People want calculators.
Yeah, people want
Yes.
calculators. And
Wait a minute. Where are these calculators you're thinking of from?
I've been playing
Final
So,
Fantasy Tactics.
The Old Republic
okay.
is interesting because you can make a beefy boy or girl, although the beefy woman model is very different than the beefy boy model. It's more like curvy, larger, but not like a giant football player like the men are.
Do you mean it's like that meme I sent you the other day where the monster races, male monster races are all giant monsters and the female monster races are all a supermodel with a certain tint to their skin?
Yeah,
It's
That's
a
a
bit.
weird
It's
skin tone.
definitely better than that. Like you do. It's definitely a larger woman that you wouldn't see in a lot of games, but not like a big football player like the male models are. If you want that size, but it's just neat to have a game. There's only a couple of games where you can really play as a larger man, being competent and fun and suave. And I like made him kind of sexy with like genderqueer makeup, and I don't know. It made me feel, it's like, wow, this character's really cool. And it's not something you see in media because you have to make it yourself because they will never have a character like this on TV. And it's just neat. It makes me feel like really, it's the kind of inclusion that I wish you could see, but you can't. It doesn't exist, but you can make it. And I think it's really neat and makes you feel good that you can have a character like that in a game. And go SWTOR, I say. That is a good thing about that game. The bad thing is, it's got the Outer Worlds thing of all the cutscenes. They aren't like Mass Effect cutscenes. They're just people standing around cutscenes. Like, they don't have any kind of fun action cutscenes at all. But
That's a bummer.
it's a budget thing. There's already so much voiced cutscenes in that game, like hundreds of hours of it. So they can't have, like, Shepard punching out a thing and then jumping over a wall because there's 12 different classes and each one of them has their own story. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Jim, what have you been doing?
Let's see. Since I was on the podcast last, I got a tattoo.
Finished KOTOR 2, for sure.
For sure, of course. I finish every game we play.
Mm-hmm.
I got a tattoo. I replayed the first BioShock game.
What?
Which it's still really good. I forgot how good it is. I forgot how hard it is too. It's pretty challenging.
I didn't like the last third.
Yeah, I agree with you. It should have ended before that.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
very definite point where it should have ended, and it keeps going.
Yeah. I've never played BioShock 2, so I'm looking forward to doing that.
Actually, really, I think it plays a lot better than BioShock 1.
I'm excited. And then, like, I love the idea of playing BioShock Infinite, but like the first one, that game just gets so muddled. And that ghost boss fight is one of the worst things in a video game,
I forgot about that. That was so bad.
That took
It's
me. I didn't
terrible.
die, but it took me 2 hours.
It's so bad.
Like I was standing next to a vending machine and buying more ammo and shooting the ghost. Like I think
Yeah.
I finished on.
And the rest of the game is so accessible, and then it's just like, surprise.
Yeah, here's a ghost you have to fight.
Yeah. And I don't like the way for the final boss fight, it's like, here's a brand new mechanic that you have to learn on the fly right away.
Yeah, but I like all of those big arena battles where you're zipping around the different platforms. Like, those are really fun.
Right.
But yeah, so I'll see if I dip into that or not. But
I want to play the Beyond the Sea 1 and 2 expansions. They're apparently pretty fun.
oh yeah, I've heard those are good. And let's see, there was one other thing. Oh, I went and saw Birds of Prey,
Bop.
which I
Ooh.
really liked.
Shared Level Up. I saw it too, and it was amazing.
It's really good. And I'm gonna go see Sonic tomorrow, so I'm stoked about that.
That's awesome. I'm going to take my kids to that next weekend. I'm very excited to see it. Everybody that sees it seems to like it.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. So I'm excited to see that too. Let's see. Vanessa, how did you level up?
As everyone knows, there's nothing I love more than sports.
Show business.
Sports.
The theater.
Sports, the American pastime. Tossing the ball and being in shape and going in an ice bath for your muscles. College sports. Can't get enough of that stuff. So I watched 2 documentaries on Netflix. I watched a series called Cheer, which follows the number 1 cheer team in junior college in the country. And this is not like, dance with your feet on the ground cheer. This is flip 'em in the air cheer, highest rate of traumatic injuries of any sport cheer.
Competitive cheer.
So it kind of got into this team and the kids who are on it and why they do it and a little bit of how dangerous it is. And it was very good. It's like a 6-part series. And then I picked back up, inspired by that, watching something I watched a long time ago called Last Chance U, which is about a junior college in Mississippi that tends to recruit Division I college players who either flunk out or are kicked out of school for behavior reasons. And they rehabilitate them academically and try to get them back into the Division I.
Is that a Netflix series?
It is, and it's very interesting. And I think this little junior college has like 6 players who went on to the NFL currently, which is a insane number for a little junior college in the middle of Mississippi.
Yeah, that's cool. I've seen that show before. I might check it out.
Yeah, I sort of fell off watching it, but they have like 4 seasons out now, so worth a binge.
Yeah, I'm not a big sports fan, but there's something about sport, like sports stories and things that just get me. Like Friday Night Lights there's like 5 or 10 episodes of that series that will never not make me cry.
Yeah, I think it kind of is a interesting look at life that I have never experienced myself, never having really been part of a sports team or even part of a college system that had a major sports focus. So it's very interesting, and never been to Mississippi and probably never will. Well, I can't say that. But it's very different than what I have experienced, and I love seeing how different people live, and a lot of these kids are really inspiring, and they're so good at sport. Oh, I turned on Fallout 4 again.
Ooh.
I haven't been feeling well, so I wanted a feel-good game. And I was in the middle of a beautiful tower that I forgot that I had built for my Vault Dweller. It's a game I've played many times before, but every time I play it, I like to have my character build a beautiful home for her and her baby son when she finds him, because he is missing and he's a baby. So I always take the time to make a really nice kid's room for the baby to live in. It's just a little something I like to do.
What do you decorate your tower with?
My tower, I actually am running a mod right now that gives you sort of access to all of the game assets that the developers use.
Yep.
And I have all the expansion stuff. So it looks kind of like a vault, and I'm keeping it nice and clean, but it's on that big island. So it's just kind of like a nice, tall, concrete, vaulty-like tower. Nice and safe and secure. And I'm very proud of my little island town. I built a main street. I think I showed it to you a long, long time ago, John. It has a salon.
Oh, wow.
It has a restaurant. It has everything you need.
Are there people
to
in it?
live a happy life. Oh, yeah. There's like 23 people living out there.
Oh, okay.
I really could spend like a couple hours just going from settlement to settlement, trying to increase the happiness and making sure they're all okay. I know some people hated that element of the game. I love it. Matthew, how did you level up, my friend?
I leveled up a lot of things. Some of them are very important. One of them is most important of all. I saw a movie called Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, and it was delightful and wonderful, and I loved it.
I also saw Parasite. I forgot about that.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was very good. A lot like Us. So, Birds of Prey. As someone who has not seen Suicide Squad, do you think I would like it, Matthew?
I don't think so. Suicide Squad doesn't tie into it at all, which is great.
There's
That's
like
exactly
one
what
mention of it just to let you know they're in the same universe.
Oh, yeah. There's like an Easter egg on a wall.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's the same actress. She looks the same at the beginning of the movie. It's great, though. It's got great action. It's got great humor. The acting was great from all of those ladies. Margot Robbie in particular, I thought was like a real revelation. She's so good, legitimately, and so funny. It's a bit like Deadpool, kind of breaking the fourth wall a lot type of movie, but it's a lot of fun, and it's funny, and it has just phenomenal-looking action scenes, which, I mean, that's about all you can ask for.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'll check it out. I'll try to go see it in a theater.
It has it's a fun movie. Like the action sequences are super fun and they're so like colorful and just like interesting to watch.
I've been watching The Office, and I'm about done with the show. I've been kind of binging it as my background show. In particular, recently while I was playing this chunker, so I feel like I have a lot of The Office and Final Fantasy VII mixed up in my head. You know, like Cloud has a flashback, and then Jim looks at the camera and kind of smirks. It's all real tied together. Still doing my big X-Men read-through. I'm kind of currently on, what am I on? Operation Zero Tolerance. Hey, gang. I know that my friends here, other than Vanessa, maybe won't necessarily get this, but I read all of Onslaught plus all the like prelude stuff, and for the first time, and it was so much and so dumb. And I can't believe that was a real thing that happened in the goddamn X-Men. And it's really funny how you can just taste the bankruptcy on Marvel at that point. Like, it's got clone Spider-Man. It's got all of this stuff. It ends by launching Heroes Reborn. Like, it just smacks of, like, mid-90s Marvel about to go bankrupt. It's pretty funny. It's pretty interesting
DC
to
had
read.
the same thing at that time period. That's when we got our electric blue lightning Superman and the death of Batman and all those characters trying to be the new Batman. Do you remember that?
Kind of. Some of that DC, it was the crippling of Bruce Wayne, the crippling of Batman was supposedly a direct reaction to the over-the-top 90s stuff that was happening at the time. And that's why you get a Batman that has got, like, batarang guns and flamethrowers and swords and is super tough and cool. But Marvel in particular, like, this is when they went bankrupt. They had to declare bankruptcy. It's pretty interesting, actually. You can draw the line directly from that to them selling off the large majority of the film rights to their characters to make money to stay solvent, and them being but them launching the whole current MCU Avengers-based universe because that's all they had the rights left to.
Right. That's why they chose to start with Tony Stark instead of Spider-Man, which would have been a more natural choice.
Yeah. Or the X-Men or the Fantastic Four, which would have been the original, what kicked off the Marvel Universe. But different studios own the rights to those movies at the time. Anyway, it's interesting, and I did have some fun going through and looking at the like super radical 90s art of Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee when they took over the core Avengers books with Heroes Reborn. I shared some of that with you guys, and Rob Liefeld's radical Thor it just looks so crazy. Anyway, but my big final thing, and this is the important thing that I really wanted to talk about tonight, So I'm going to get this out here before we dive into the main chunk of the episode, guys. I saw the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my entire life tonight.
I'm so excited to hear this in person again.
I was driving to the liquor store on my way home from work. So I'm driving past my own house because it's just past my house. And on the sidewalk, on the main road that I'm on, I see, and it's perfect. The way I have to describe it is the timing of it all. I'm driving down the road, and I look to my right and see a man on a bicycle on the sidewalk heading towards me up my road. Not in the road. He's on the sidewalk. And as my brain registers the fact that this man has a pizza box balanced on the front of his bike, right as my brain says, oh, that's a pizza, the lid of the pizza box flies open. And the pizza flies out of the box all over the fucking place. And listen to me, I kid you not. A slice of pizza flew into this man's face as he was riding his bicycle and bounced off of his mouth, basically. And the rest of the pizza just all spills out onto the sidewalk, and it all lands top side up perfectly. The whole thing was ruined.
That's the saddest story I've ever heard.
I'm glad we're able to utilize that man's disappointment for our entertainment.
He just wanted his pizza. You know, it was funny when Matt texted us about it. I think because with humor, you have the initial shock factor, you know? So you're like, oh, this is not what I expected to happen.
All right,
Therefore, my
we
body
can't do
has
this
an
empathize with the man
involuntary...
that lost his pizza thing. It's the funniest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I couldn't believe it. And I watched him continue to ride his bike for a second and like slowly dawn on him like what has happened. And as I drove by him, he was stopping his bike and looking back at his ruined pizza.
No!
So I pull into the store and the liquor store that I'm going to is literally next door to the pizza shop that he has picked this pizza up from. I recognize the box because I order it all the time because it's the one closest to my house. So anyway, I pull in, and as I walk into the liquor store the whole time, all I can think is if I come out and he's pulling up on his bike to try and get another pizza, what do I do?
Buy him a pizza.
Do I go inside like, listen, I saw the whole thing.
I find it kind of funny. I find it kind of sad. That
is, I can imagine Matthew slowly driving by this guy on his bike, and then Mad World starts to play as his pizza becomes airborne.
Yep. It was the most tragic comic thing I've ever seen, and it happened in real life. Like it was something out of a sitcom. Out of a sitcom that would make you go, no, come on.
That's how they would do it in cinema, but like the slowed down Donnie Darko version. It's like the moment he hits the bump and the pizza starts flying up out of the box, it goes into slow-mo and you just hear the
Let's be clear though, this guy didn't hit a bump. It was just super windy out today. The top of the pizza box just flew open because the wind was so strong, and then the pizza got picked up and thrown out. I mean, the wind and him riding down the... Okay.
Bright and early for the daily races, going nowhere.
So are we ready for the quest log, or are we gonna keep doing this?
Okay.
Forever.
But so Matt, what was that question you were asking me before the level up about experience with this game?
Ooh, the important question that I had to ask you this evening was, let's talk about the quest log.
No, everybody, what's your experience with Final Fantasy VII?
Well,
Can
only
I
one
guess?
of us has it heckin' tattooed on his arm.
Yeah, here's my guess. Jim's played it 10 times. John's never finished it. Vanessa's finished it a few times, but doesn't like it that much.
Incorrect.
Ah!
I have finished this game and then probably played the first third 10 times, but then I get bored around Mount Coral. Between Mount Coral and Temple of the Ancients is usually where I tap out. So, yeah, I have finished this game. However, the first time I played it, I had no idea what was going on. And I'm really... one thing I want to try and do is try and figure out what the hell happened to Cloud. Because I never understood what happened the first time round. And, I think it's a challenge for myself to really understand his backstory. That's what I want to do this season of Square Roots. What about you, Jim?
So, see, let's go back to Jim's childhood for a second. So when I was like when I was maybe like 9 or 10, my dad remarried and I had a stepbrother. And my stepbrother was a couple years older than me, and I went to meet him, and we hung out, and all he did was play Final Fantasy VII. And so all I would do is sit and watch him play, and it was the first time I'd ever played or watched somebody play like an RPG. It was my first RPG exposure. Mm-hmm. And I took to it immediately, and I've loved it ever since, so much that like I have iconography from the game tattooed on my body.
I was so excited for this game, like with the preview shots and everything coming out. I was like 18 when the game came out, and so like when I was 17, I spent a whole year like twitching in anticipation for this game. Like I downloaded video clips of the summons and would watch them over and over and over again.
I don't know, it's one that's stuck with me for so long, and I love it. I have a Buster Sword and a Cactuar tattooed on my body. Mm-hmm. And I plan on getting more iconography from this game tattooed on myself because I want to make a big tattoo sleeve out of it. But I love this game. I love the music. I love the characters. I think it's amazing, and it's like I think everybody, well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people like they remember their entry into like, you know, RPGs or JRPGs. Everybody's got their one that's kind of their standard. This is my standard.
It's not like it's, you know, 12 years or 10 years after I first started playing RPGs, but I love this game. I have such fond memories of it. I love the look, and I love the art. I love the chunky dudes. I love the colors, the music. But
oh man, the music's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for me. What about you, Vanessa?
Let's go back to when Vanessa was a child. Little Vanessa loved Final Fantasy VI. As listeners who heard our Final Fantasy VI series know, I love it. It's great. 10 out of 10. A+ game. So I was very excited for Final Fantasy VII, but I was so poor. I didn't have a PlayStation. But I had a computer. And they did release the game on PC. So I went to the mall, and I went to the game store, and I picked up a PC copy of Final Fantasy VII. But I was so poor. I didn't have a good computer.
Oh, no.
So I loaded it up and put it in, and it worked. But the load times were so long that I could not get past the initial segment with the 10-minute countdown, because it kept counting down while you load from screen to screen. So by the time I got from like the first screen to the second screen, I had a minute left. So I had to take the game back and say, "Mister, it doesn't run on my computer." And back in the day, they would just take it back because they were like, "Okay, little girl, you tried your best. Why don't you get a Sierra game that takes up a little less RAM and play one of those?" So I didn't get to play it. So I guess I had that taste in my mouth. Meanwhile, all around me at school, all the kids were like, "Oh, we love Final Fantasy." And I was like, "Great, let's talk about Final Fantasy VI." And they're like, "We haven't played that. We've only played Final Fantasy VII." the first Final Fantasy game. And I'm like, it's called 7 Dunguses. Now I want to talk about, well, at the time I called it Final Fantasy III because I was a naive little child, and you know how the American releases work. So I'm like, Final Fantasy III, Final Fantasy III. And they're like, Final Fantasy VII, go away, little girl. So I went to my room and cried. Later I got the game and I played it, I guess. You know, I really thought that I had played this game, and I'm sure
And you
that
said
I've
it
played
on the podcast
some of this
that
game.
you have
I've
played this
said
game.
on the podcast that I've played this game. However, as I continue to play this game for the podcast, there are some things I clearly remember and some things I very much do not. And they are not chronological. For instance, there'll be the Golden Saucer, which I remember very well. And then there'll be other towns which I don't remember at all. So I don't know what I did with this game. It was something. And I never did take a liking to it. But perhaps that will change now that I'm rich and have a rich person's perspective.
Yikes. What about Matthew?
He's not rich.
Wow.
Nope.
God.
I'm not rich.
But, I mean, did you play Final Fantasy VII at the time? Was it life-changing?
I did not have a PlayStation at this age. It's funny. When I was in high school, the person that eventually kind of became my best friend in high school, his name was Cameron, used to wear a Final Fantasy VII Sephiroth shirt around all the time, and I had no idea what it was until after we became friends. He brought his PlayStation to my house, and we started playing Final Fantasy VII.
He sounds cool.
I had the same shirt because you got it for pre-ordering the game.
Whoa,
really?
Yep.
You
Maybe.
sound cool.
I didn't really know the first thing about.
Cloud.
I didn't really
That's
know the.
not cool.
Sorry, Matt.
I didn't really know the first thing about JRPGs.
Did you know the second thing about JRPGs?
Oh, jeez.
No. I knew the third thing, though, which is that everybody's angsty. I have played through the game up until the third disc. I've never finished the game. I'm very excited to finish the game and know what's going on. My memory of what I have played is very spotty, but definitely I've had a lot of it spoiled via the internet and the sequels and, you know, the prequel that we watched recently.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, it's Final Fantasy VII. I'm excited to finally finish this game. I feel like this is one of those games that I specifically am on this podcast to play.
Yeah, this game was the reason that that I wanted to create the podcast. Was because I wanted to do a podcast on Final Fantasy VII because I liked it so much. Also, one thing I want to add about my introduction to the game, my stepbrother my former stepbrother that I watched play the game was looking like in retrospect, he was a huge edgelord. Like he would sit in his room and listen to Hellbilly Deluxe by Rob Zombie, listen to Dragula and play Final Fantasy VII, and it was the angstiest thing in the world. But I still like the game.
I mean, that's definitely exactly what I was doing.
I got Final Fantasy VII in September, on release day. My brother had put $10 down, so I got the T-shirt for pre-ordering it, and for my birthday, which was a month before. And then, so I got the game, and then I went on my first date with this guy I ended up dating for years that weekend.
Whoa.
But I also got mono that weekend. So the next 2 months,
kissing disease.
I was so sick. I don't remember a lot of this game because I was so sick playing through it.
Oh man.
I
I still have my physical copy of this game.
I think
Wow.
I traded mine in finally for my Switch, along with some other games.
I got a physical copy, but it's the classic one, like
Oh,
PlayStation Classics
greatest
or whatever.
hits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Green.
That's how late to the party I was.
Wow. So guys, you want to get into it? You want to talk about Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
Questlog!
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's
Do
talk.
we want to call it the quest log? I guess we should.
Yeah.
It's episode 200.
It's 200.
Let's go back to our square roots
Yep.
and call it the
I like
quest
it.
log.
All right.
I'm on
So,
board.
Jim, are you going to
The
lead this
log
one?
that nobody needs.
So I'll let you lead it, John.
Oh,
Don't want to mess with success.
I'll be the funny one who just makes fun of you.
I'm too sincere about this game.
Okay.
I have too much sincerity to lead it.
So, imagine a star field. And then more stars. Music slowly starts. It's a city. There's a girl. She's in the crowd. She's in this metropolis, this wasteland of city. And there's a train coming. Girl, train, city, train. People exit the train. After you see the big logo for Final Fantasy VII, the music swells. It gets very intense here. People jump off the train and then start kicking conductors, because conductors are jerks. And then, finally, this man does a literal backflip off the train to fight people. This is Cloud. He is from Soldier. He has blue eyes, a big blue suit, and spiky yellow hair.
And square arms.
Yep, I love his Popeye arms.
Yeah.
Also,
Can we talk about the difference between the cutscene characters that look like, era-appropriate CGI characters?
sometimes
A little bit anime, but mostly human.
Sometime. Like, there's literally 3 different character models in the cutscenes.
Versus their sprites, which look like someone has taken 2 bowling pins and made them arms for these characters. And then put the bowling pins on a Lego torso and Lego legs. And then the head is like a paper mache project from a child's art program.
With stickers
Yeah,
for
they're
eyes.
They
With
are all
stickers for
jagged.
eyes.
They're all jagged angles. Like every limb of their body comes to some kind of 90-degree angle.
I love the look, like both the combat models and the map models. I love how the map models look like these ridiculous Lego men. I love the flat shaded enemies in the fight scenes. Like they're so weird and colorful in this game. Are you there?
It's weird because this is Square's first attempt at a 3D, fully 3D, not fully 3D, at 3D models in their games.
Yeah.
Full-ish 3D.
Sometimes.
And it looks, for being the most beloved of the Final Fantasy games, it is the worst looking for sure.
I would say this is the best looking PS1
That's
Final
a
Fantasy
crazy
game.
thing. Oh, okay.
Like,
I,
especially the background art is incredible. It's so detailed and
Yeah, that's the one thing it has going for it, is it has the pre-rendered backgrounds that look really good. And the pre-rendered cutscenes look really good. And anything that is done as an actual 3-dimensional model in the world
Looks amazing.
looks like horrible junk.
I really do love this aesthetic. I'm not being ironic. I think that the battles, I have so much fun just watching them. I love that early, flat shaded look. It hits my nostalgia center like morphine. So I think I'm addicted to it and irrational.
I find the pre-rendered backgrounds pretty, but sometimes confusing. I've been playing it on my Switch, so the screen is a little bit small because I want to watch TV while I play it. So maybe that's part of the problem, but other than that, it looks janky and terrible. And I think that... Isn't Final Fantasy Tactics a PlayStation game?
Yeah, this game looks way better
PlayStation
than
era.
Tactics.
No.
Way better.
Jonathan. Johnny Brandon.
I don't like the character design from Tactics at all.
I love it. I love looking at the box art for it, which I guess is not the in-game art, but that that sketchy style with the little chibi guys, and then they dress up in their little costumes.
They're known
I love
their
it.
lack of noses.
They got no noses, like my boy Krillin.
So, you've got this crew for this bombing mission. This crew is called Avalanche, and it features Barrett, who is a big, burly, beefy boy with a beard and a gun arm. And
He got a gun for an arm.
he's wearing a vest, and he's got a nice chest. He's a big, wide boy. He's
Everybody knows what they look like, John.
green shorts. I just want to talk about the characters for a little bit. Everything is great about Barrett, except for the localization's use of African American vernacular English,
Yeah.
or at least their impression of it, which is mostly Mr. T.
He's very Mr. T.
It's tough, though, because Mr. T is delightful.
But Mr. T's a character.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird that they would adapt
B.A.
that
Baracus
personality
is the
for
character.
this ego
Mr.
terror.
T is
the
a
actor.
man.
Yeah, Mr. T's the actor. B.A. Baracus was the character.
Yeah,
He's a human
Mr. T
being.
has a persona. Wasn't
Jim.
he a wrestler first,
Yeah, he has
though?
a persona.
Yeah, he was a wrestler.
right?
He
He's
was
like,
a G.I. Joe. He was B.A. Baracus. He was a boxer.
But a wrestler is not a real person. A wrestler
What?
is a persona.
How dare you?
It's like, you have The Rock, and that's a persona, and then you have Dwayne Johnson, and that's like a really nice dude who you want to be your dad, but also husband, and just, hold you in his big,
Your
strong
dad,
arms.
but also your husband.
It's like he has that, like, kind of wholesome parental energy, but then also them guns.
I think what Vanessa is trying to say is that
She wants
you
to bang
kinda
and
want
also
him.
hug The Rock.
It's like he's gonna rock your world, but also make you feel really safe.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I didn't always feel that way, but then I saw a picture of him like holding his newborn baby and he didn't have his shirt on, and I was like, daddy husband.
Huh.
So you've also got Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge. Jessie is the cool, she's the one who knows machines. I guess she's like the Donatello of the group. She's the one who makes the bombs and knows how to do the ID cards. Biggs is the he reminds me of Karate Kid guy a bit. Like he doesn't do much. He doesn't leave an impression. And Wedge is the comic relief fat guy.
Aren't Biggs and Wedge our friends from Final Fantasy VI?
They are. And 8.
Nice. Oh, I'm so happy to see them back again. But now they're filthy terrorists.
Yes.
Yeah, we're terrorists in this game.
Barrett explains that, hey, Shinra is draining the lifeblood out of the planet and it has to be stopped, and these reactors are bad and destroying the planet.
I don't understand one thing that the game never explains is how he knows this.
Yeah,
Because
where's his
nobody else
empirical
on the
data?
planet knows this.
Well, he's been reading the Midgard Times.
Well,
But nobody else on the planet knows this. Everybody just assumes that they're fine with Mako energy. They don't. I mean, people in Midgard don't like the pollution or being poor under the plates, but nobody else is like, oh man, it's
I think
I guess we just got to do
don't
this.
we get some backstory later? No spoilies, but I think we do get some reason of why Barrett became the founder of Avalanche.
Yeah, but it doesn't have anything to do with him saving the planet. He just wants revenge on the Shinra.
Oh, well, no spoilies.
Interesting. Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Y'all
we'll get
calling them Cloud and Barrett, but the game does allow you to name them. Did y'all give them names?
I sure did.
I can't not rename a character if it lets me rename a character. I'm going to do it.
These two are the only characters that I renamed.
What?
Yeah. I don't know why. I just wanted to rename these two, but the other ones, I just like their names a lot.
What did you call them?
I named Cloud Chungus, and I named Barrett Gary.
Gary.
I don't know why. I thought Gary would be a funny name.
What about you, Vanessa?
What about you, John? What did you name your
No.
characters?
No.
I named my characters after a certain game called Rogue Galaxy. So Cloud is Jaster, of course. And everyone says Jaster all the time, just like in Rogue Galaxy, so I find it really fun. And then Barrett is Dorgan Goa, because that was one of the big guys. You could have, like, Digo is more of a Barrett character, but Digo's a dog, so I'm going to save that for a character that comes up later. And Tifa, well, we'll get to her. But she is Kasala.
Oh.
How about you, Matt?
Nope. Just kept them, kept them as is.
Listeners, I want to hear
Claude
your
and
names
Bart.
for everybody.
Do you want to hear my names for everybody?
Yeah, I
do.
guess so.
My name's Cloud Blondie. I was going to name him Spiky, because he has spiky blonde hair, but I went with Blondie. And then I named Barrett Depeche.
So, do you think you finished this game, Vanessa?
I don't know, John. I don't know. And I named Tifa Susie.
Oh,
Susie.
Siox.
yeah, Blondie,
U.I.
Susie, Depeche. I get it. I get where
Yeah,
you're going with
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All around me are familiar. Nope. So, you are members of Avalanche, and you're going to place a bomb. Jesse gives you some tips on how to do it. Barrett joins your party. He's got a gun arm, which is not that powerful. And you get to the reactor console, place the bomb, and then you have 10 minutes to get the heck out of here. And I've done this section so many times because it was like the what do you call that? The demo. Yeah, this is the demo for the game. So I probably played this section literally 30 or 40 times.
I'm curious what Avalanche's end game is here.
Wipe out
Just-
Shinra Corp?
But wipe out the reactors, and then nobody has electricity anymore.
But then the planet is safe.
Yeah, I guess everyone goes back to coal, because we learn later in the game that they were using coal before.
Right.
That's true.
And then the
These guys are essentially like West Virginians, and they're like, we hate
one of my
nuclear
least favorite
energy.
things about, and like we'll get into this later when we watch the movie, but in Advent Children there's a throwaway line from Barrett where he's like, hey, I heard about this cool thing called oil, and it's like, hey, Barrett, no, there are also problems with that too.
So does this mean that they're just going to try and blow up the like newer, cleaner form of energy to go back to fossil fuels? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh no.
They're eco-terrorists.
But like the bad kind. Well, I guess they're all. Well, I don't know. That depends on your perspective.
They think that Mako energy is destroying the planet.
Right. How do they know
Is it?
this? Well, actually,
But also another question: is it? Do we know that?
Well,
Because they say it, and we're just believing it because it's very similar to a
There's
real
a-
world situation.
there-
But is it?
There's another character later who has a better authority on this.
Is Mako energy just fracking?
Yes, it's fracking, but it's like a magic fracking.
It's like fracking, but it's radiation because they can pump your blood full of it, and it makes your eyes glow.
Is that like the spice? Like how the spice
Yes.
makes your eyes glow too?
Yep.
What do they call? How is that word pronounced?
Melange?
Spice.
Not spice. Melange.
Yeah, the spice melange.
Melange.
Yeah.
melange. Okay.
So
Y'all, neither radiation nor spice will make your eyes glow IRL. So listeners, don't try it.
yeah, you set the bomb. You have 10 minutes to get out of there, but there's a boss. A robo-scorpion.
Wait. What happens when you go to set the bomb?
Oh.
Doesn't something
There
happen
is-
when
you're
you go to
right.
set the bomb?
I have to mention this because I have to mention every time things get weird for Cloud. Cloud, the screen goes super red. Cloud gets some kind of flashback to a voice that just spells out on the screen, watch out. This isn't just a reactor. What does that mean? I guess we'll have to find out what that means. Next time on Squirt. Nope. We're going to keep going.
Yeah, Cloud has fainting fits with some regularity.
He seems to have some hidden stuff in his head.
I'm
He
the same.
seems,
I'm
yeah.
very sensitive to heat. I have hidden stuff in my head. Cloud should do what I have taken to doing, which is just carry a little portable fan with you. And if you feel overheated, blow that right on your face. You'll feel much better.
Cloud's friends don't seem to notice that he passes out a lot. Although I don't know if they're his friends, because he's like, I'm from Soldier. I'm a professional. I don't care about your dumb cause. I'm just here for the money.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I just want to get paid, whatever. He actually says to Barrett, like, I don't really give a crap about what you're talking about with the planet or whatever. Just make sure I get paid.
Yeah.
This is my least favorite kind of RPG dude. The guy who's just too cool for school. And he's doesn't have convictions. He doesn't care about anything except getting paid. He's not on one side or the other. He's just there. And everyone around him's like, let's save the world. And he's just like, I have a spiky hair.
I don't think they did a great job with Cloud's character in that way, especially when he has, his change of heart or whatever. I'd say that a game that does it really well, I don't know if you guys played this or not, but I Am Setsuna. Did you guys play that? Came out a couple years ago on the PS4.
I haven't played it.
No, but I've heard it's very good.
It takes that like character trope and the whole arc of it is actually really great. Yeah.
Well,
Anyways.
it does seem like the game isn't a fan of this trope either. Like, from what I remember, I don't want to get too deep into that, but I feel like this kind of comes back, like, and is a deconstruction of the cool anime guy trope. But yeah,
it is a little bit. Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
Maybe it is, but one thing I know about this game is that these weird... Oh, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. I started that sentence really judgy. I take it back. Many fans of this game of a particular ilk, being men or boys who relate to a quality of edginess or what they perceive to be edgy, they do love Sephiroth more than anything else.
Sephiroth, yeah, for sure. Sephiroth doesn't. There is no commentary on the nature of Sephiroth versus the nature of Cloud. I think the game offers plenty of criticism and commentary. But Sephiroth is a whole other beast. And we don't even meet him this chunker. We just hear about him.
Yeah, they sure talk about him a lot. Like, it definitely pops up within the first few lines of dialogue in this game.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like Sephiroth. He's super cool.
I think it's this number 5 reactor is the first you really start hearing about him.
I mean, the game starts at the fucking... Oh, no, it's number 4 reactor. Whatever.
All right, so...
I guess he's famous for being a soldier, which I
guess.
can't really think of a lot of people who are famous for that. I guess the American Sniper guy, he's dead.
Yep.
I mean, this does seem to be the only city on the continent, so it's definitely a weird fucking... It's a weird civilization they got going on here. Like, it's not like this is a state. This isn't the capital of some state. It's just its own little city-state, and it's also the biggest and only city on the continent.
Matt, what you're talking about is our future, where urban areas expand so much to form one mega metropolis that is controlled by a handful of corporations.
Do you think that the city of Midgar is bigger than New York?
Yeah.
Because I don't... How can that be true? You can walk through these sectors in like 10 seconds. An actual borough in New York is miles and miles and miles long.
I assume that it's like a metropolis. It's just you're only seeing little chunks of it. Like it's a representation.
You can walk miles and miles in one day.
And you can also...
People walk toe-to-tip of Manhattan in a day, I'm sure.
And they also take
Nobody
trains.
suggested otherwise. What are you talking about?
They take trains from one section to the other, too.
That's true. There are trains.
Yeah. And speaking of, let's get out of this reactor. So you fight this Robo-Scorpion boss, and it's got the usual first Final Fantasy boss thing of don't hit it while it's doing this thing move.
Yeah. They're like, uh-oh, its tail's up. Leave it alone.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's like when that turtle thing in 6 retreats into its shell and you shouldn't hit it then. It's like that.
What? Whoa, it's in its shell. What do you guys think of the combat system?
I like it quite a bit.
Me too. I really like the whole materia system. I think it's super cool and easy to understand and fun to customize, and there's enough depth to it to make it interesting, but not like overly complicated.
As a kid, I really liked it when a character had like a set of skills, and they weren't just in this game that everyone's kind of the same with a little bit different stats. And I didn't like that as a kid, but now it's like, oh, I can kind of make a team exactly how I want, so I can mess around with it. But yeah, definitely as a kid, I preferred the set. This is the thief. This is the fighter. This is the mage. What about you, Vanessa?
I like it. I like that it's sort of pseudo real-time combat. You have a little meter that fills up pretty quickly to when it's your turn to move. The materia makes sense. You just equip it like a piece of jewelry, and I guess that makes more sense than having inherently magical people in a fantastical realm, because this is a more contemporary setting. And I like the limit breaks, because it reminds me of Psyduck. When Psyduck gets really upset, he unleashes his mighty headache attack, and when these characters get real upset, they also unleash a mighty attack.
In Detective Pikachu, did we ever see Psyduck unleash his attack?
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Isn't it at the facility when they learn what's going on, and then Psyduck gets scared and like wakes up all the giants?
Oh, maybe. I just couldn't remember. So you defeat Robo-Score. Oh, Matt, what do you think of the combat?
I like it a lot. I wish that it, I go into the options. I like to choose the wait mode, which kind of, all it really does is when you're in an item or magic menu, time stops.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish it was more turn-based because I'm playing it on the Switch, and I'm playing it most of the combat at 3 times speed. And I do have a tendency to have my mind wander or to be paying attention to something else. So there have been times when I've looked down and been like, "Oh shit, I've lost half my life because I haven't done anything for 5 minutes."
Was it the house? The house with the arms and legs?
The house with the arms and legs was a bit of a pain in the ass.
You got to pay attention to that one.
But I like it. It's fine. It's turn-based JRPG combat. You know, it's I've said this a million times on this show. The modern remasters with the 3 times or the fast forward or whatever they call it that lets you speed this stuff up is vital. Without it, it's all a slog, and I kind of hate it. But when it all zooms by in 10 seconds, it's fine. It's perfectly fine.
Definitely there's a...
And you don't have to do that, which is nice, but it's respectful of people like us. We have different lifestyles than we did when we were teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing. I don't have 10 hours to sit in front of the TV anymore.
And the game was really slow compared to Final Fantasy VI when it came out. Because there's all this like gorgeous panning over people as they do attacks and stuff, and really showing off the fun graphics.
Yeah. I hope that I haven't looked. I hope that there's an option to turn off summon animations.
Ooh.
As much as I enjoy them, I would like to be able to turn them off.
I don't know.
If you turn on the 3x speed, they really zoom by.
I mean, I remember the Knights of the Round Summon taking like 30 fucking minutes.
You could go take a dump in the time it took for the Knights of the Round to go.
I feel like that was a 2-minute
13
summon,
of them,
right?
and everyone got like a fucking feature on the camera. It's the longest thing I've ever seen. And the worst
Each
is when
one
you're
got a
fighting
10-minute
those
monologue.
big bosses and you just are using it every turn, and it's just a nightmare.
So, you defeat Robo-Scorpion and get out just in time. And on your way out, you set some more explosives, which singe Wedge's butt. He's running around with his butt on fire. Jessie's a little worried that the bomb was too powerful. She's like, I didn't mean for it to explode like that much. She might feel a bit guilty about that. And then you all have to separate and go your own ways, meet up on the train.
We run into Jessie and she's stuck. If we don't pull her out, does she die?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I was curious about that too. I was going to ask that. Like, can you just leave her?
I don't know. I always get her. Maybe it won't let you leave her. I've never tried. You monster.
I didn't do it. I'm just asking the question. I think maybe she does open a door, so perhaps you can't get out without her.
Right. Yeah, I think that might be it. Because she...
Oh, according to this this message board post that I just found, it makes you go back for her if you skip her because she's the only one who can open one of the security doors on your way out.
That's just what Vanessa said.
Oh, sorry. I was looking for this message board post.
Instead of listening to me, your friend, who's sitting right here, staring you in the eyes and giving you the information, you go on the message board. It's all right. I'm used to it.
So this is one of the few times you really get to walk around downtown Midgar. Mostly you're in like little villages around the edges. And you run into the girl from the opening with the basket of flowers, and she is selling flowers.
Yeah, so the Barrett tells everyone to split up so that Shinra can find them. They'll have a little more difficulty finding them. So you run off. I think you like flip out of the train. You flip off the train or something like that into this little market, and you meet this girl who's selling flowers on in the little market.
And she's like, "Oi, Governor, buy me flower." And Cloud is like, "I believe that I could take any young woman in England and turn her into the toast of society. Oi, buy me flower. All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air."
and then she takes off her glasses and Kiss Me by Sixpence, and then the Richer plays.
Yeah.
Dream on the side.
And then she has her makeover scene and comes down the stairs in a beautiful dress.
So she's got, this brown-haired girl. You don't get really introduced to her, but you can buy a flower from her if you like. I didn't. And I feel like because I didn't buy a flower from her, I might not get the date with Barrett because you need that flower to get some points with Barrett.
You have to get the flower and give it to Marlene. But yeah, this is where the whole date mechanics thing starts.
Right.
So like all of your interactions with pretty much all the females in the game throughout this period up until you do the gold saucer thing factors into who you date.
Yeah.
All the females.
And
what are you?
I want to date Barrett, so I have to choose. I think you can get. I think there's a couple of ways you can kind of make up for the point that you get for giving it to Marlene. So I think I can still. I think I can still get Barrett's date, even though I didn't do that.
You can just nag all of the other lady characters.
That is what I have been doing. So that's what I thought I should be doing here. So when she's like, "Oh, do you want to buy a flower?" I'm like, "Nah." And just ran off. Oh boy! So you get pursued by guards, and you can fight them, but in the end, there's too many. He's like, "I gotta back up," even though you're like destroying them with no problem. He's like,
"Yeah, I fought as many as I could."
Yeah, and I think Cloud. The only way Cloud knows how to leave an area is to backflip out of it. So he like backflips onto this train.
He does the cool guy retreat where he's like, "I'm out of here," and then like backflips onto the train.
Cut to inside the train, and everyone's like, "Is Cloud dead? I guess Cloud's dead. Miss Cloud. What would Cloud be doing right now?"
Yeah, they're all wondering about Cloud, and Barrett's like, "Who cares about that jerk?" And then you flip into the train, and he's like, "What are you doing making a scene?"
Well, he starts knocking on the door. They open it, and he flips inside like the coolest guy in the world. Everyone just is like, wow.
Yeah, he flips in, and he's like, "Sup?"
And
thought I'd drop in.
You guys push your way through this train.
He runs into the subway car and he yells, "Showtime!" And everyone starts groaning.
They do seem to be not respectful of others on public transit. There is this...
Yeah, they're a bunch of hooligans.
There is this rich guy who's like, "Oh, not this riffraff." And He's not super happy about it. You also get Jesse decides to show you how the train system works and how Midgar works, because for some reason Cloud might not know about this. She's like,
Yeah, he's like, here's a map of Midgar, and here's how everything's laid out. So I guess we can just say, so like we just blew up the Sector 1 reactor.
Yeah.
So the whole city is divided into these sectors, which I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's
8?
Each sector has like an upper plate
Yeah.
sector where like the rich people live, and then under that plate is the slums where the poor people
and
live.
the underside is like the old original Midgar, and they built this new plate over it, blocking out the sun and for this happy layer for the rich. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so like down below, like you said, it's polluted and the air is really stagnant.
And it's just full of junk all the time. Like as you walk around, it's just piles. They're basically like living in a junkyard down there.
Yeah, and Barrett, I think it's either Barrett or Tifa says, like, because somebody asked, like, why don't they just move? And Barrett's like, well, they love their land so much.
Mm-hmm.
They want to stay on their polluted soil.
I can understand that. You got roots. You don't want to be pushed
Sure.
out by jerks.
Yeah. So the train takes us to Sector 7.
Mm-hmm.
Where you meet Tifa, who is the owner of a bar called Seventh Heaven.
I do like that when Barrett gets there, he makes everyone leave the bar by like shooting his gun.
Yeah, he's just shooting wildly at all the patrons
This
of the
child
bar.
is inside.
Yeah, and you know what? This is another thing in the game. So like you can use the flower you bought from Eris to give to Marlene, who's Barrett's daughter, who's behind the bar, right?
She's
Or
not.
is she in the back?
She's in the Tifa at this time. Tifa's behind the bar, and she's in the back. Yeah.
Tifa's tending bar.
Yeah.
Does Barrett's daughter not look like a little Tifa?
Yeah.
She does kind of.
It's like every time I play this game, I always get the same impression at the beginning of the game, which is, oh, and Tifa and her daughter.
But it is not Tifa's daughter. So Tifa is the cool
Is
girl.
it though, John? Isn't it though?
No. Is Tifa the Betty or the Veronica?
I think Tifa would have to be the Betty because she's not fancy, but on the other hand, she's dark-haired like a Veronica.
And
It's very confusing.
I guess Aerith is sort of like a princess in a way.
Yeah. But you know what? Let's not categorize women.
Okay.
Tifa's the Tifa.
Tifa is the Tifa. She's a tough girl with like a charm and enormous knockers.
I don't know much about our friend Jim Banks, but I do know one thing, and that's that his first and only truest love is Tifa.
That was my first like anime girl. Like, whoa! Look at her proportions.
Tifa was Jim's first waifu, and that's why he still has a Tifa body pillow.
I mean, I wish.
I wish you could get a Barrett body pillow.
I bet you can, man. Look on Etsy.
I
Listeners,
wish you could get a Dwayne Johnson body pillow.
send us body pillows of all our favorite beefy boys, floppy-haired boys, and Tifas.
Magicians, too, please.
Tifa and Tifa? Huh? You ever think about that?
Oh, hey.
Tifa's the original and Tifa.
Wow.
Another layer of
You know what?
complexity.
Go ahead and count me out of this body pillow request, gang. I got people in my life who come into my bedroom, and the last thing on earth anybody ever needs to see is a goddamn life-size pillow of a anime woman in my goddamn bed.
That was a pretty sick burn on the rest of us. I have people in my life come into my bedroom.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
So I guess when Jim makes the women wait in his bedroom while he's recording the podcast, they'll be like, why is there a Tifa body pillow?
Well, there's already all those mannequins
Hold
in
on.
there.
While I'm recording, let me get my Tifa body pillow to keep you company.
He has his Vampire the Masquerade mannequin room already, so what's
Yeah,
one
that's
Tifa
true.
body pillow?
Yep. The girls always have questions about that other one. It's just my mannequin room. Jeez.
Yeah, this is what's this? It's not weird.
I mean, Jim works in the fashion industry. There's no reason he wouldn't have a mannequin room.
That's true.
Well, yeah.
Exactly. So you can take the pinball table down to the secret lair after you meet Marlene. She's shy. She doesn't really want to say hi, but that's fine. You know, let kids get used to you. And they have a little what do you call that? Like a what do you call it when you run down what happened in business? Like an after meeting.
Like a debrief.
Yes, like a debrief, and they're like going through. Jesse's a little upset about how big the explosion was. There's news reports about innocent people being killed by it. Barrett is punching a punching bag. He's real upset, especially since Cloud just wants money.
Yeah, which is not unreasonable. They hired him to do the job, and he did it. And he's like, "Hey, can I get paid now?" And he's like, "What, is that all you care about?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, that's the only reason I'm here."
Kind of, except it's not like he's just a random mercenary that Barrett found on the internet. He's a friend of Tifa's that she recommended.
Well, you find that out in a second. I do like that to get to the secret lair, you have to take a pinball table down.
Yeah, ride it like an elevator. The first thing I did when I walked into that bar was try to play the pinball machine, and I was disappointed that there wasn't a pinball minigame.
Aww.
Yeah, you can't interact with a lot down in this little basement.
So you then, I guess, spend the night, and one of the best dialogue choices to prep for who you're going to go on a date with is you can, when Tifa asks how you slept, you can say, "Great, since I was next to you." Or you can say, "Barrett snoring kept me up."
Yeah.
And
I chose not to perv on her.
Do any of these fucking dialogue options matter at all in any way, shape, or form?
yes, they all give you relationship values with Barrett, Tifa, Yuffie, and Aerith, and it ends up mattering on who you go on a date with when you get to the gold saucer.
Ooh.
Yuffie is a child.
Yeah.
Is she?
I think she's like, yeah, I think she's.
Oh, she's 16 in the game, I guess.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeesh.
Cloud is.
But Cloud is what, like 21?
Yeah, he is 21. So after you wake up and you're gonna head out, Tifa's like, "Hey, wait. You promised something, remember?" And you're like, "What? I don't remember anything." She's like, "No, remember back when we were kids, you promised something." You get a whole 5-minute flashback of little Tifa and little Cloud back in Nibelheim sitting on a water tower. And I think he does some flips there too, doesn't he, to get on and off the water tower?
Something like that.
Yeah,
He's trying to
a
look really
parkour
cool.
kid.
What do you think about this flashback scene to Tifa and Cloud's early relationship?
I like that they have a history with each other, but I thought the promise that she makes him promise is really weird. It's like,
It
if
is.
I'm ever in distress, you'll come save me and be my hero.
And because he was telling her he's leaving town. I guess they were teenagers at the time. They look like little kids, but I guess he's like 16.
Cloud looks super young, and Tifa looks like, like a teenage girl.
Right.
Tifa's
Yeah.
dressed like Blossom from the Blossom TV show. She has this big hat on and like a little
God.
vest.
Tifa's outfits this chunker are amazing. I especially like the cowboy outfit that's coming up. So yeah, he's gonna go join Soldier, and she's like, "Well, if you get real famous, you gotta promise something. You're gonna come and help me if I need your help." And she like badgers him into this promise. I don't feel super great about it, but he agrees.
Well, I think the deal is that she wasn't able to say what she really wanted to say, which is like, I have a super big crush on you. I know you're going to ROTC, but when you get back, like, maybe we can share a soda.
Right. But she doesn't say that. She just says, "I want you to help me if I need help." And now she's like, "Well, remember that promise?" And Cloud's like, whatever. But he does get reminded of their childhood connection. And he's like, well, I'm not even famous now. I'm not a hero. I got kicked out or I left Soldier. And so it doesn't matter. But it seems like Cloud secretly is going to help Tifa, even if he's got this gruff exterior. And then Barrett not only pays Cloud, but it's like, I can offer you money to help with the next reactor. And he's like, sure, that'll be 3,000 gil. And Barrett's like, that is my school money for Marlene that he's saving, her college fund. Which really does not make me like Cloud.
Yeah, I know.
That's not Cloud's
No.
fault. It makes me not like Barrett. You hired this guy, and then you like gave him all the shit about paying him, and then you like stole your daughter's college money so you could pay him. Cool.
Also, they are
could commit
once
terrorism
again.
together, by
Yeah,
the way.
I have to emphasize that they are terrorists.
But the world's on the brink of collapse.
I haven't seen any proof of
I
that.
mean, according to Barrett.
Yeah, I mean, have they tried like distributing flyers or doing a public education campaign about the dangers of Mako energy?
Yeah, maybe like petitioning the government to do a study.
Oh. Definitely
Have they
fracking's
tried
not good.
developing alternatives?
You're
Fracking
so
is definitely
naive.
not good. It does not excuse murder, John. Just in case you didn't know that and you needed somebody to say it out loud for you.
Mm-hmm.
Fracking is not
Yeah.
good. It does not excuse murder.
I mean, our biggest anti-fracking advocate is, of course,
John Brady.
Hollywood's Mark Ruffalo, and he just makes documentaries about it or something. I don't know. He doesn't
And
blow things up.
Sometimes Hulk smash, but
We've all
Hulk smash responsibly.
And we've all seen that now fracking is over and no one is fracking anymore. Thanks. Hulk.
That's right. Thanks, Mark Ruffalo.
So we get the next mission. We get a little group sesh, and we're all planning. So you're gonna get to take a train to the number 5 reactor, except something goes wrong. You get on the train, and the checkpoint. We saw a checkpoint last time, and our ID cards were fine, but this time it goes off early. And they have to keep I guess the laser beam is going through the train, and you have to outrun it.
But you're like on a. It didn't make any sense to me, but like you have to run to the front of the train, I guess.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think
it really makes no sense.
Yeah.
No.
you can lose
Sure.
this, and the game's still fine. I think you'd have to go through some extra combat, maybe.
Oh, that makes sense.
You got plenty of time to go to the front of the train, though. And
Sure, yeah.
you do knock past that rich guy who's real not happy about seeing you back again.
He's like, oh no, the ruffians are back.
But he's also like a rich man taking like gross public transportation.
Well, everyone does. It's like New York City.
Get your own chariot, dude, like Don Corneo.
It's the great
Oh, I
equalizer.
wish I could take an Uber, but traffic is so dense this time of day. Oh no.
You'd think he'd have his own chocobo or something.
In the notes, I called Cloud Squall. What?
Oh my
Where?
goodness.
Oh, you
What
did.
a noob mistake. Do you even game?
So we get off the train. Like, we have to jump out of the train because we run out of space, and we get to these tunnels. These tunnels, every time I feel like I have to go the other way to see if there's an item you can pick up. I don't think there is. Because you can go like 5 screens south or 5 screens north to get to the end of it. Does everyone else always go the wrong way just to see if there's anything?
Oh, yeah, I like to poke around very much. And even sometimes if I don't see something, if I can stand behind a screen or something, I like to mash that button and see if maybe there's a hidden chest or a hidden item.
Ooh. So you head north and you go through. There's just some tunnels here. Jesse's like, "Oh, you're almost ready. Are you ready for another reactor?" And I'm like, "Yep, it's cool. It's cool. Cloud's fine with this." Then so it's a basically you get in through a different way, so you don't have to go through the whole reactor like you did last time. You basically start at the end, and you get right there to the reactor. But then, as you're about to plant the bomb, Cloud passes out. This seems like a problem. He really needs that Vanessa fan.
Yeah, it's not like a great trait in someone doing a high stress work to just pass out next to a bomb.
Right. And you get another flashback. Tifa is by the body of her dead dad, and she is dressed like a cowboy.
A cowgirl.
Or a cowgirl, yeah. She's real mad at someone named Sephiroth. She's like, Sephiroth did this. I'm going to kill Sephiroth. Sephiroth is going to pay. And Shinra, I hate everybody. Meanwhile, why do you think she's dressed like a cowboy?
Because she's
I
a
don't
cowboy.
know.
She a cowgirl.
Yeah. On a pale horse she rides, and she's wanted.
Do you think she's packed her bags and mounted her horse? She's going to ride on into the next town?
Think she's gonna key your fucking car.
So
maybe next time,
listeners, I want to hear your explanation for why Tifa is dressed like a cowgirl. squarerootspodcast@gmail.com.
What do we need? Okay.
I just want to know. Don't you want to know why she's suddenly wearing a vest and a hat and everything? It's a super serious scene, and she is dressed like a stripper.
I mean, I assume because they live out in the country and this is the only way they could think to show us that.
Maybe she's a chocobo rancher.
Oh, maybe.
Chocobo
Maybe she's
rancher.
going through a phase.
Ranches chocobos.
Yeah, she could be a chocobo rancher. Cloud wakes up. Everyone's like, "You okay?" He's, yeah, fine. Usual passing out thing. Sets the bomb, and as they're trying to escape, President Shinra is there. And he knows.
I like the Shinra music.
Mm-hmm. He knows Cloud, or at least Cloud knows him. And when he sees Cloud, he's like, "Oh, you, that guy." And
This is very much if you had gone to bomb a ride at Disney, and then Michael Eisner shows up and he's like, "Aha! It's me."
I do like the graphics of this game, but the dumb helicopter that President Shinra is always on makes me laugh so hard.
I know, but one, because when he gets on it, it rises up and then goes to fly away, but can only fly at these really tight angles. Like it flies and then rotates slowly and then goes forward. That's not how helicopters work.
So President Shinra's like, "I have set this up. We're gonna waste another reactor just to kill you dweebs. So take that, you dummies."
This is like if Jeff Bezos showed up.
I see that you broke into the Amazon warehouse. Well, I, Jeff Bezos, have been waiting for you.
You're trying to blow up my sphere buildings I built in Seattle, are you?
He does mention that Cloud has been exposed to Mako, and that's why he's got those glowy blue eyes. And then he keeps going on about how great Sephiroth is, which I think is just a way of negging Cloud.
I get the impression that Sephiroth is sort of like Rosie the Riveter. He's just like the icon for recruitment into the soldier program and everything.
Cloud or Sephiroth?
Sephiroth.
Oh, yeah. Everyone wants to be like Sephiroth.
I mean, you see that giant sword and you're like, "What's up?"
It's too bad you're not big and strong like Sephiroth, you loser.
God, it's amazing what we thought looked cool in the 90s.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Sephiroth's whole aesthetic anymore.
The waterfall
God, I
hair,
used to be, though.
the
used to think it was
sword.
the coolest looking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of
Particularly
people
when he
in,
got that one-winged angel thing going on.
a lot of people in college tried to do the Sephiroth hair. Because I went to college right around this time.
I like the Fabio hair.
Yeah, that parted in the middle, long hair. It's not a good look.
Mm-hmm. No.
it's sort of feathered at the ends too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it reminded me of like Michael, 90s Michael Bolton.
Yeah. Then an airbuster shows up, which looks a bit like Rob from remember the NES Rob, R-O-B, the robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so bad.
He did
Right?
nothing.
The wizard.
No, that was the Power Glove. That was so bad.
Wasn't Rob supposed to like switch the cartridges for you or something?
No, Rob just did a couple of would move some toys like in a kind of Tower of Hanoi thing. You'd love it.
I do love a Tower of Hanoi.
Rob didn't do a whole lot. He would just move in accordance with stuff going on in the game and move these rings on different spikes in a Tower of Hanoi thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Rob did nothing. But Airbuster...
I see you've broken into my blood analysis lab, but you weren't expecting me, Elizabeth Holmes. And now you're going to fight this robot that I invented myself. It's really cutting-edge technology, and I really think we're going to change the world with my robot.
I love how terrible this robot is.
It's not good.
Nope, you beat it up real fast.
Yeah, this president has been planning this evening for a long time. He's like, okay, I'm going to go in my helicopter. We're going to wait for them to set the bomb. And then once it's set, I'm going to tell them that they're caught. And then my robot is going to come and fight them. And we're not going to put anyone else around to make sure the robot does it, because the robot's just going to do it and it's going to be fine.
Yes, the robot is going to be fine. But no, the robot fails and then explodes, which maybe is like the backup plan. He's like, well, if they do defeat the robot, which is going to be very hard because this robot is intense and lethal, but just in case, the robot will explode, and they are on bridges, so they'll probably die if they defeat the robot too.
Right. They are on bridges.
Yeah.
And the robot does explode and the bridge does break apart.
This is in the trailer for the remake is this whole scene with Cloud dangling, and then you can act tough to impress Barrett, which I of course did because I want to go on a date with Barrett in this very heterosexual game. There's this guy idiot on Twitter posting about how SJW the new trailer is, and Cloud is straight. This game is a very straight game. This game where you can do so many very straight things like go on a date with Barrett.
And many other straight things, which we'll get to
Next
as
time.
the game progresses.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about what makes me date who, so it's going to be a real surprise for me when we get to that part.
Yeah, I am curious who Cloud will end up on a date with. So Cloud falls. Tifa and Barrett run away, and then the screen goes black, and you start getting more dialogue, and I don't know the source of this one. I figure it might be Tifa, because it's someone's voice talking about being a kid, and saying, back then I only got scraped knees. But now... It's just random vague stuff about being a kid.
Yeah.
So I guess it's probably Tifa? What do you all think?
I thought maybe it was Cloud himself.
Oh.
Or
okay.
I don't
felt
know.
I felt like it was Cloud's subconscious.
Ah. Well, then he starts being compelled to wake up, and he wakes up in a flower patch in a church.
I like the church music.
The nothing grows in Midgar anymore.
In the slums.
In the slums,
anyway.
because there's no light. But there's one little area gets a little bit of light, and it just has a little patch of earth, and flowers are growing. And that's where this girl, the flower girl from before, is growing her flowers. And she's like, well, I guess the church roof and the flower patch broke your fall. Are you okay? And you're fine. She introduces herself. Her name is Aerith.
Her name is Tears.
I named her Norma after the chesty bad lady from Rogue Galaxy.
Her name is Eris, according to the version that I'm playing.
Oh.
Is it Air? I've always been curious about why certain people called her Eris or Aerith.
Well, I think the translation that you're playing, Matt, I think it's Aerith.
Definitely Eris.
Did you change it?
No.
Oh, weird. For most of the remaster ones, it's Aerith with a TH.
Definitely Eris with an S. Is anybody else playing the remaster? Can anyone confirm or deny?
It's Aerith with a TH, but I renamed her, but it was definitely TH in the version I had. But
But you
don't
renamed her.
remember,
I can look.
but I
have it recorded.
think of her as Aerith. What are you playing it on, Matt? Switch?
I'm playing it on the Switch. What about you, Jim?
I'm on the PS4.
Yeah, but what was the name?
It was Air. I don't remember.
Ah.
No, did I change it? No, I didn't change it, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah. Well, let me see. Right.
I thought it was. I think it's Eris.
Definitely Eris.
I'm pretty sure it's Eris. I just spent a lot of time getting her Great Gospel Limit Break, so I'm pretty sure it's Eris.
You're pretty sure, huh?
Not positive, but pretty confident.
I didn't spend a lot of time getting her gospel break, but I did definitely note the fact that her name is Eris.
I think of her as Aerith, though.
How come?
I don't know. Where'd that come from? It must be a thing somewhere.
Well, it is a thing, because in the original Japanese version, she is Aerith. And then they changed to Eris for the translation, and now it's Aerith again in everything.
Except not according to Matt and Jim, who
It's
are
definitely
probably
not.
wrong.
It's definitely Eris.
Listeners, if you know if it's Aerith or Eris in the remastered versions of Final Fantasy VII, write in to the Square Roots Podcast at gmail.com.
See, I know because I didn't change any of the names.
But you could be misreading it.
Nope.
Well, he has
Definitely
a
can
switch.
tell the difference between an S and a TH.
He has a switch right there. I could have sworn. It's no biggie. So, anyway, Aerith, in all new versions, it's Aerith with a TH. So, yeah, it will be in the remaster, or the remake that is coming out soon, and in Advent Children, Crisis Core, and all that. So you have, she asked you if, or she tells you about this materia she has. She's like, just making conversation. I got this materia my mom gave me. It doesn't do anything. You're like, oh, well, do you know how to use it? And she's like, yeah, I know how to use it. It doesn't do anything. And a guy shows up, and Aerith's like, hey, can you be my bodyguard in exchange for a date? And sure.
What does she mean by a date? Because if it's what I think she means, she is awfully quick to sell that flower, if you know what I mean.
I don't. What does she mean?
You know, like a nice dinner in a movie.
She gets to, I think she just means like dinner in a movie. Yeah. So the Turks show up. This guy, Reno, is there, and he's got a really cool theme. I like the Turks theme a lot.
Me too.
And then you get this chasing moment. Now, if you want to go on a date with Barrett, you have to make sure that you keep getting Aerith into fights and keep. There's a little mini game about pushing these barrels, and if you do it wrong, they fall on the wrong people.
I've never been able to do this correctly.
Nope.
I've always sincerely tried to do this, and I always fuck it up.
Yeah, I did not get one barrel to go in the right place.
Like, the perspective is weird because you
Yeah.
think you're going to push this barrel down the stairs, but it's the wrong one and it falls right on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even that the perspective is weird, but on top of that, like, kind of what you said, depending on which one you push, they don't even necessarily fall all the way down. They might fall onto some stairs or some wreckage and roll in a totally random direction. There's literally no way of knowing.
There is no way of knowing.
That's right. It's no way.
I mean, there are ways, but it just involves being sneaky. Okay, so you get through this church, go out on the roof, and then they somehow don't follow you anymore, and you just like slowly walk by the front door. I guess you really confuse them with your escape. Also, did you notice there's like a shell or a missile going through the church, or is that just like a strut of the upper city?
I
Yeah, I
think
thought it
that's
was
a
like
bit
a
of
s- like a s-
bridge.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought it was just like a piece of another building that fell through.
Oh, okay.
Because Cloud just fell through the ceiling, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. I just thought like they sort of as they're building up the upper part, they just sort of put supports and stuff through all these old buildings on the ground. But who knows? You run along the rooftops, and then on the way you get to the I don't know, Sector 5 slums, and this is where you meet this guy are sick.
This guy are sick?
This guy are sick. Well,
Oh, the guy in the little tunnel?
yeah. What?
Oh, guy in tube are sick.
What is
number
what
2?
is guy in tunnel?
Guy in tunnel number 2. He's sick.
I assume if you give him some medicine, he'll give you a materia or something.
No, can't give.
Yeah, I don't
No.
think you can do anything with this guy, but he seems to like he has a number 2 on him.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean poo?
Number 2, number poo. He are sick.
He is sick. And it does seem like it's a side quest or something, but I don't think you can ever go back and do anything with this guy.
Yeah, Cloud is just like,
I'm not a doctor. And he's like, okay, thanks for stopping by.
It really seems like a side quest thing, and I don't think there's anything with this dude.
we have curative items and restorative magic, and we don't try either one.
Is this the town where you can rob the child? You can go through his drawer and steal his savings?
Yes.
And it's like 7 gil.
It's 5, and I didn't take it, although I did find it. I found a secret treasure, and it was like 5 gil, and I was like, I'm not going to take 5 gil from this child. And I'm glad I didn't, because it pays off later.
And there's some like posters and stuff you can find here for another unlockable thing, right? I keep forgetting to look at the walls.
The Turtle Club posters.
The Turtle Paradise, right?
All right.
I haven't been doing that. I'm missing out on.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
don't know
I
if
didn't
it's
know I
something.
was
Can you go back
supposed
and
to.
do it? I don't know. I've never paid attention.
I don't think
to
you
this.
can, because I don't think you can go back into Midgar. I could be wrong.
You can go back to Midgar.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. You can find a key buried in the Bone Village. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, so maybe I guess you can go back and do that. So as you walk through this section, you get to her house and her mom, Elmira, and so Elmira's along the way, like Aerith says, "Oh, by the way, I'm an ancient. I don't know what that means, but I have like a connection to the earth, and I can feel something's real messed up."
Yeah, she says that she can hear voices sometimes.
She is like an ancient. I don't know what that means.
The game doesn't explain.
Yeah,
at
and
least not
Cloud's
yet.
like, okay,
Cool.
flower lady.
I just hear the voices of the earth. That's all. And the mom's like, "Hey, yeah, so you're from Soldier. That's cool." And and then Aerith is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna show him how to get to Sector 7 tomorrow." And the mom's like, "Cool. Cloud, can I talk to you? Leave my daughter alone. Never talk to me or my child again. Go to Sector 7 by yourself."
Yeah, she says that. Does she mention like having her heart broken once?
Not this time. That's when you come
Okay.
back.
Okay.
Yeah. And Cloud's like, "Cool. Okay." So Cloud ditches Aerith, goes out on his own, picks up some
Aerith?
sweet materia, and goes to the gates, except that Aerith is waiting for you.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you're up bright and early? Okay, time to go. Here we go.
Yeah, she's not taken being abandoned. So you walk through this junkyard, and she starts telling you a little about herself. She's like, "Oh yeah, I had this boyfriend, my first boyfriend. He was in Soldier too. What rank were you in Soldier?" And Cloud gets a white flash, which means something about his head, something about his memories, and it's like a little dissonant sound. And he's like, "First class, of course." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, that's just like him." And he's like, "Him who?" She's like, never mind. Don't want to go on about it right now." Which I understand. You don't on a date. She shouldn't really be bringing up her ex at all, if you ask me.
Is this their date?
Well, so they're like sitting. They're going through a walk in a playground and talking to each other. It seems a little datey.
They're going through a walk to return him to his home, because he's fleeing from the authorities and has failed in his attempts to blow up a Mako reactor, and they sit down in a rusty old junk pile of a playground.
On the cutest little cat slide ever.
It is cute.
Oh, it's a pretty cool cat slide.
Yeah.
Jim, you should get a cat slide like that.
Yeah, I'll keep it in my apartment.
Well, when you get your own house one day, that'll be your
Sure.
in the backyard. You'll have a recreation of that junkyard playground.
Yeah.
That's your life goal.
I'll cosplay as both Eris and Cloud.
Mm-hmm. She does seem to be feeling out Cloud for whether or not Cloud is single and all that.
Well, she seems a little not. I don't want to say suspicious, but like she knows something that we don't.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she makes references to a couple things that you'll notice on like a second playthrough after you understand everything. Like she's kind of poking him a little bit in a direction to see how he reacts.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And
I certainly got none of that from anything that happened here.
I definitely got like from the white flash that there's something up whenever he talks about what rank he was, he seems to have some weirdness. And then the door, they're by these like massive gates, and the gate opens and this very poorly animated carriage walks by with Tifa in the back.
Yeah, it's like this very garish looking like carriage. And you see as person in the back, and Cloud's like, was that Tifa?
Mm-hmm. It sure is. And
It reminds me of like the child snatcher carriage from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh. Well, it's snatching a young adult woman. And there it's Don Corneo's carriage, and it's being taken off to Wall Market. And it's up to Cloud and Aerith to rescue her. Next time on Square Roots.
Yeah.
We did it, gang. Episode 200, 200. Wow, wow, wow.
All right.
Meow, meow, meow.
And then next time on Square Roots, we are playing to the end of the Sector 7 slums. Right before we go to Shinra headquarters.
Oh boy, I'm very excited. So much stuff. We could talk about the honeybee.
There's a lot.
Inn.
There's a lot happening in this next chapter.
We could talk about that honeybee inn for hours. And I am going
Gonna
to
do some squats. Gonna wear a
I feel
dress.
like I have a lot of questions about Don Corneo's basement.
Oh, so do I, because there's like I thought it was like a pretend. Well, we'll talk about it next time.
Yeah.
It's a real vampire, the masquerade, the eternal life awakening, the video game.
It's a real the table that Blade lays on in the movie Blade when they when they suck all his blood out. It's like that.
There is a bullshit minigame. There's one.
Is there? What is it?
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Pressing the button at the same time to get into the reactor. You all have to. It's like a timing game where their hands are up and you have to like slam it down at the same time as everyone else.
Oh, that. That's not. Wait, that's not. Is that this one?
Yeah, I think so, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, it was at Reactor 5.
Yeah. It's right.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I tried to do that at 3x speed, and it does not work. It's impossible to time.
I would say that there's a second bullshit minigame.
Ooh.
Look at you.
Sneaky floor, creaky floor.
Oh yeah, trying to get out of Aerith's house. That's a real Sierra game. Sierra loves creaky floor puzzle. And you have to walk around this floor and not alert the Aerith, or else you have to go back to your bedroom.
I don't know that this ever happened to me. I think I just 3x speed zoomed out of there and didn't need.
You're just going too
never hit a
fast.
squeaky spot. Yeah.
I definitely set off the creaky floor, and then she comes out and she's like, oh, go back to bed. And then you have to
Oh,
go back
really?
in, and then you're like, here I go again. I'm going to try it.
Weird.
So, roundly for or squarely against? What are you squarely against for this chunker, Matthew?
Nothing. I'm roundly for Final Fantasy VII. Wow, wow, wow. I'm glad we're finally playing this game. thumbs up. 1 thumb up.
Jim.
If I have to pick anything, I'm squarely against the barrel thing, which is a mini game. Maybe is that a mini game? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Kind of. But yeah, I've never been able to get this right, and I've probably do the same thing on every playthrough, thinking I'm doing it right, and I always do it wrong. But I've never gotten it right, but like whenever you see how it's supposed to go, you're like, oh, well, obviously, but it just never makes sense on the first go round.
Right. And there's no.
What about you, Vanessa?
I am roundly for the power of Andraste. We have talked about 3 times speed, but we have not talked about a special button you can push that makes all your characters have full health and reach their limit breaks every turn. And boy, does it make the game go easy.
How does that work?
Yeah,
Is it just like a click and they have full health and full limit, or is it like a click and the cheat's on and they just never... How does that work?
It's a click, and every time an enemy attacks you, like your HP goes down and then immediately fills up. Oh. So you're not invincible, because if an enemy does an attack that depletes all of your HP, you still die.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's sort of a tweak to God mode, but it makes battles go very quickly, and you really don't have to think about them very much.
The only thing I wish you could customize with this is, like, I like the HP part, but I don't like the limit breaks on all the time.
Oh,
like,
I agree. I get very bored of them
sometimes.
Yeah. I did start using magic attacks in place of the limit breaks, just to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
But it's great for grinding, because you just can like turn off your brain, go kill some enemies, and level yourself on up.
When I was grinding for Eris Great Gospel, I turned on the 3x speed and the HP and gave Eris all of the materia, and let her do magic attacks on groups of enemies, and I was able to get her to her highest limit break in like 30 minutes. It didn't take long at all.
Did you send her out all by herself?
No, she was in the party, but I just let her attack everybody with magic constantly.
Nice.
Yeah. John?
I am roundly for the atmosphere of this game. I think the localization is terrible, but the atmosphere is really nice. Like, there's just the music, it's a combination of the music and I think the background art is exceptional. Like, it's really great just walking around Midgar. It's beautiful. There's so much things to look at, and they put so much time into the aesthetic of the game, and I really, really like that. And I love the character design too. It just makes me... This game's probably my, like, this and some old Sierra games are my comfort food games. Like, I just love playing it. It just makes me happy. So I'm real psyched about playing this.
Okay, well, we do have an email to read.
We do?
We have... Hold on. Vanessa, you have a from Eric, and I remember you were just gonna read it from your phone, maybe?
I was just going to, our friend Eric sent us a little follow-up, and he says that he did not expect it to be read on the show, so I'm not going to. But he did say that Visas is pronounced Visis, not visas, like the credit card.
And he did make fun of us because they say it on the show, or on the game, all the time.
Yes, he says, I'm truly impressed at how badly you guys are able to pronounce so many words and names that are spoken on a regular basis by the game's voice actors.
It's a talent we have.
Yeah, this game does not have voice actors, but we did spend a healthy part of the episode arguing over whether it was Aerith or Eris, so stay tuned for more mispronunciations.
We have actually 2 other emails this week.
Oh boy.
We have a bunch. So I'll read Adams. He writes in, I just wanted to send you all my appreciation and love for your awesome podcast. I'm sure I'm not the only one in your audience that looks forward to listening to you all each week. In fact, relies on it to get through all the bullshit going on in the world today. This next year, we are going to need you. You are all very talented and funny, and I'm proud to be a patron. You don't have to read this on the show or respond. Whoops. I just wanted to pass on my thanks for a great show. Keep up the good work. I'm excited for this year you have planned. Thanks, Adam Z. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
I would like to say that this show helps me, especially in the coming year. And as listeners do not know, because it's private, I have been through a lot of things since the show started, and this show has been a really consistent and important part of my life in just having something creative and fun to look forward to every week.
Same here. Seconded.
All right.
Who wants to read the next email?
Vanessa?
Not me.
Okie dokes, I'll do it.
This one's from
Hi.
Eric.
I
Is
read
it?
it already. This one's also from Eric?
No.
This one's from
no.
Isaac.
Oh, is it from Isaac? Okay.
Yeah.
What's this from Eric when it's from Adam?
I read it.
Oh, she just read it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
Just for that, I think you should read this email from Isaac, because I read the one from Eric.
Sure. Hi, Square Roots gang. I'm sure many other listeners share the excitement of hearing you guys finally tackle the big one. I thought I'd share some of my fond memories of Final Fantasy VII as a child. I remember when my parents first bought the PlayStation, a few games to enjoy, some tank game, Soviet Strike, and Final Fantasy VII. Watching those pre-renders cutscenes blew my 7-year-old mind. To be honest, still blows my mind. The entire Midgar prologue is forever burned to my memory. Remains my all-time go-to if I want to spend an afternoon and take a trip to my childhood. There definitely seems to be a slight age gap in play with regards to Final Fantasy VI or VII was their introduction and high point of this franchise. As I was born in 1990, that means 7 became the gold standard, with Chrono Trigger being on the cusp of being part of my conscious memory. I wonder how many other listeners will be able to perfectly visualize the areas you describe in the chonkers. With the warmest regards and many podcast downloads, Isaac. Well, thank you, Isaac.
Hey, thanks, Isaac.
Oh, it's so nice to hear from listeners. I know that I often give the podcast email on the show, and I often don't get it right. So just to be clear,
What?
it is.
Did you say just to be quick?
Wait, what?
Guys, I have something to tell you. No. Just to be clear, it is Square Roots Podcast at gmail.com. That's all one word. Square Roots, plural, podcast, singular.
At gmail.com. Yeah, my first Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy 1, and I don't have fond memories of it. 2, I do have a lot, like 2/4. I have lots of fond memories for that maybe aren't earned, but I love that game.
I already said in this episode that 6 is my jam,
Yeah.
and that's how I am.
2 was amazing for 12-year-old Johnny. Or 13-year-old Johnny. Ooh. Anyway, yeah, let's so Patreon. We have a Patreon. Jim, what's the Patreon all about?
So on our Patreon, if you become a patron, you get access to our cool bonus episodes, like our instant classic revival. What else do we do on
Square
there?
Roots
We have
goes to the movies, our famous
Square Roots
series.
goes to the movies, our Square Roots versus episodes. Those are all available through our Patreon at the $3 level. And at the $5 level, you get access to all that great content, as well as the ability to vote on games. Every once in a while, we will open up we will let our listeners vote on what our next game is going to be for our main series. We'll throw out a few options and let our listeners hash it out. So if you'd like access to that content, just hop on over to patreon.com/Square Roots Podcast and sign up. We would greatly appreciate it. Oh, wait. And one other perk. We actually read the names of all of our patrons on air, sharing our fame
All right, Matt.
with them.
Get through this. We can do it.
Yeah.
Burn through these.
Matthew is going to kick us off here in this week's reading of the patrons.
We would like to thank Chris Ryan, Race Jenkins, D. Jethro, Jordan O'Boyle, Florian Jonas Kramer, Metal Gear Solid 1 in 2021, Mike Bloomberg is Shinra, that's accurate, Joseph, Mary, Queen of Scoffs, Matthew Casterline, and John Totally Did, Robert M. Pullum, Sean Walsh, Jameson, Kiva Musser. It's a Kawami, Mario. It's a how can I never get it right? I feel like I'm always drunk when we record these episodes. Force Lightning. Go Force Lightning. Good. Let the hate flow through you. Reddit is Harold Lauder. Devin Sloan. Andy Best. Squall would beat Cloud in a fight. I think that's correct. Cloudy with a chance of meteor. Patrick, I need a new dumb Patreon name, Coover. Vanessa's fourth mom. Megan Sullivan. Huxley Iguana. And Jared Collins.
Let's see. Jonathan Ellsworth, Cyril the Wolf, Gage Lackerite, Justin Ham, Stephen Kroc, Chris Penyak, The Phantom Scofflaws of the Opera, Joshua Bennett, Ryan Miller, PJ Enns, Chris Wilder, Randy Pierce, Jake Dickerson, Patrick W. Bears, Sean Arata, Armin Hammer, Tom Gregory, Christian Go, Gray Code, Matthew Newland, Michael Crawford, Justin Rash, T. Bumpkins, Jonathan Smith, Amanda Douglas, Citrus C, Ashley T, Cameron Shoei, George Braid, His Dark Materia, Sexy Grandma's Boy Toy Is, Isaac Wright, and
lucky
Stephen
Isaac.
Paget.
Cloud Strife's distant cousin, Rainy Altercation. Andrew O., Matt Jorgensen, Galendo, Robert T., Miguel Torres, David Shook, Dr. Stephen Stone, Captain Awesome, that one guy, Nathan Poirot, fine, say everyone's name, at least it annoys Matt, G. Bailey, David Green, Darth Krea's School of Do-Nothing Centerism, Hexagon, Aaron Little, Vanessa's mom, that's my real mom, you guys, Nawford, The Mighty Monarch, and Andy M.
Livin' La Vida Yoda, James Hostetler, Brian Pitt, Brady A. Berman, Wash in the Wind, Eric Garvey, Just Jerry, Tyler Petty, Benjamin Avner, Tracy Tanoff, Sean Gonzalez, Andy Smith, Paul Bursch, K. Gigi Loth, Bree Girth, Chewy, I Hardly Know Ye, Free Hong Kong, Ron Squared, Samu Mitchell, Wonder Swan, Stu Skeel, Rusty Kamada, Sty of the Beholder, Aaron Bachman, Ward Childress, Alexander Jokic, Hudson Roth, Ross Hartley, Lexa Varial, and Adam Zimmerman.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to have an email read on the air, reach out to us. We are squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group, for smart, cool, very attractive people, or tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod.
You can rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And thanks to Tetrimino for letting us use their fantastic rendition of Jenova and Birth of a God. You can support Tetrimino on Patreon or check out their YouTube at Tetrimino VG Band.
Wow. First returning
All right, everybody.
musical artist on the show.
No, I think we've had one other one before.
Yeah.
I think you're right,
Like
actually.
Mohawk Gamer or Banjo Guy Ollie or something like that.
All right, everyone, for this episode of Square Roots, I'm Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa.
Oh, Matt is right. It is S. Eris with an S on the Switch. I thought on the PS4 it was TH, but I could be wrong.